Here's a fire-resistant proof jacket as well as a helmet. And these are not the only things that a firefighter has to put on in order to actually battle a fire. So normally, this is Major Chew here, Major Chew and Lynn. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you all normally don? And, already I can feel the jacket is very restrictive and this is quite heavy. So how do you make it up a hill like that with such a steep incline?
In a normal fire response, we'll be drawn up with the fire jackets, and not only that, we'll be carrying hoses, right? And we will be carrying the hoses in this way, right? For vegetation fire, in this instance, because of the steep slope and the vegetation, actions will be restricted if you wear a jacket, our fire jacket.
And I understand the hoses here are about 10 kilos
per hose.
A hose?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you manage to climb up with very little?
So in order to get our guys there with better efficiency, we actually decided to doff our jackets to give us more mobility, at the same time speed to actually engage the fire. Right.
Okay, now it's time for me to have a go at the hill. But I think, you know what, I'll follow your example and I'll be glad to rid myself of this uniform. Major Chew, I understand that this slope here is about 40 degrees incline,
yeah.
Right? Okay, it really appears quite daunting,
right,
as it is.
Right.
But I understand that the inclines that you all had to actually go up were a lot more. Can you tell me a bit about it?
Yeah, on the way up, at certain points you are even hitting 70 degrees, where you really have to go on force and grabbing onto branches and trunks along the way. It's that bad up there.
Wow, and here we have a rope, but the first wave of people had no rope.
Had no ropes.
Were you one of the first?
Yeah, I was one of the first who went up. We didn't have ropes then yet. So after the first crew has went up, we brought along ropes, basically ropes like this. We actually did an anchor on top, drop it down, so subsequent crews will be able to move up faster and safer.
Oh, I see. So, but without rope, how do y'all make it up?
Yeah, again, we went up from different terrains of getting onto trees and branches and roots again for the initial group of people.
Okay.
Time for you to try?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Okay, so, okay, fortunately I have a rope, yeah.
Tension the rope. Tension from below.
Okay. I feel safer now. That was just 40 degrees incline. I have to say that was quite exhilarating. Quite scary at certain points because I wasn't sure which way I was going to actually go up, because I wasn't sure about my footing. So these people who came up probably had to be pretty sure about their footing, and I'm sure I'm extremely unfit. But carrying about 15 kilos worth of equipment, hats off to them. Now I have to climb some more.
So this is basically the path that we created. It wasn't like this on the onset when we came. If you realize the path that we have here, the visual that we have on the night itself is exactly like this. So actually we're just trying our luck, heading towards the shortest route up to where we can see the fire.
But what's the visibility like at night?
Zero. Probably across 1 meter, head on to a vegetation. Then we started to break away to create a path. Then we will edge up front again. Then another face off with the vegetation, and we just break off again. That was how we got our way up there. So actually we were challenging the slope, because once we encounter slope means we are gaining ground upwards.
I see.
In order to hit to the fire. Yeah.
I see, but here this area is quite clear. It certainly seems, is it because you've cleared it, or was it like this?
This area wasn't like this. This path was actually stepped over. If you notice, the logs have been cracked and broken. Yeah. So this is actually created by firemen that have went up and down several times. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is the route up.
Take a look. What? But there's so much undergrowth. Do you all get tangled?
Yes. The first set of crews, we faced a lot of entanglement and breaking and cutting.
Yeah. Plus, it had been raining. Was it in the rain or after the rain stopped?
It was just after the rain had stopped, so the place was pretty muddy and sliding, slippery.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
So all this kind of tangled...
Yes. Yeah, vegetation's like this. Yeah.
Did you all carry with you all like knives or...
No, the initial group of us did not. We only got the first set of ropes up after tying the ankle, getting the rest of the guys to bring up more equipment, while the first crew tried to set a path, or so-called find a path towards the fire. So that was the first set of crews tasking then.
Well, what was going through your mind when you all were doing all this and then hitting a bush, hitting a vine and not being able to see it really? Yeah,
I think the main aim that kept us going was basically to target the fire itself. So actually at that point of time when we were hitting upwards, the small spark of light or fire ash that comes out from the top actually gives us the aim. So we just keep on going.
Okay, keep on going. Okay, let's keep on going and let's see where some of the fire spots have been.
Yeah.
So for yourself, what was the first thought that came into mind when you were, climbing all of this? I mean, I know duty calls and you have to get to the fire, but thoughts must have been going through your mind.
Yeah, I think one of the critical things that actually run through our mind is also the safety of the men that we're going to lead later on. So basically, when we are paving the way up, we have to really ensure that to the best of our ability to give a clear path, so that subsequent crews that come up with a clear path, not only they'll have better speed, time, they'll be having better visual of the route they're going up. Therefore, probably enhance their safety.
I see. So, officers first up.
Yes.
Okay, let's chong sua. Okay, here is a good deal about 15 meters up.
Yes.
Okay, this really looks actually a lot more steeper. What were the challenges you all had faced here?
Okay, this is one part of the most steepest slope that we have encountered on the way up. This is the place where it's about close 70 degrees. The initial crew that went up were basically on force. Subsequently, some ropes were tied along the trees to assist the subsequent crews to go up. By night, torches, lights is a definite to have. If not, you won't be able to find your way down actually. Just up the bend on top there are actually thick branches that grow across the path that we actually created. So there are narrow entrances where part of our training back in academy actually brought to life again down here, where we actually squeeze through maze or tunnels. So there, at that particular bend there, that part of it was being put into use. Basically, it's branches that grows across that particular path that we went through, where our hoses and lines were laid through. So the opening itself is pretty narrow, say about half a meter in height, about this much, and it's horizontal this way. So basically, we are crawling through those to get to higher ground. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see, although there are pockets of sunlight coming in, I can see that a large proportion of the vegetation here is actually rather thick. Right. I understand that you all use torchlights to shine back and signal. So how do you do that when there's so much thick vegetation?
By night, when we were upstairs, actually we have a clear view towards the main road itself. So one means of fixing our location and reporting our location back to our command post was basically through torchlight. So when we're up there, the visibility towards the top of the block was in line. So we managed to use that the block and the top of the hill as a reference to actually demarcate our sections, our sectors. Yeah. So
further on, you would actually basically meet the fire. So what was that really like when you finally went through all that 45 minutes, I think? 45 minutes of actually traversing up and cutting through growth, then you finally met the fire. So what was that like?
I think the first thing that came to my mind was on seeing the fire itself. It was a large spot of fire, a large spot of land on fire. Basically, primary forest type of undergrowth vegetation. At that point of time, we had canvas bitter, and canvas bitter itself will not be sufficient. So therefore, water is a must. Eventually, that line was requested, and the line came up a large portion of the fire was dealt with by the hoses instead of just canvas bitter alone, like a normal bushfire vegetation fire that we've attended to.
Oh, but why couldn't you bring up the water at the first go? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Okay, I think for that we need to really find a convenient path up, because laying the hose is no easy task, especially when it's upslope. And getting the hoses through that created path eventually to deliver water up there should not be altered after it's been laid. So we will try to ensure that the first path is correct. So once we have met out with the fire, and from the view of it requires water, so a message was relayed down to that path that was created. So the hoses were eventually laid up through that path that was created. Yeah.
Now, were you at any point worried at all?
We were more eager to see where we can cut off the fire. So because end of the day, the task that was given to me was to engage the fire. At the point in time when we engaged the fire, we could see that the fire was moving. Yeah, and the wind was catching up us. So again, critical messages like this was relayed down. My division commander will have to decide to eventually request for more manpower or more equipment to cut off the fire from another entry point. Yeah.
Okay, so what happened when you greeted the fire? It was out pretty quickly, right?
Right. The fire was put under control within 30 to 45 minutes, but there's much more to do. Basically, this is still like a primary vegetation. A lot of undergrowth has collapsed during the fire. Because of that, there are a lot of deep-seated fire where firefighters have to flip over logs in order to get all the deep-seated fire. Okay. I think one of the example is like logs like this. Logs like this where fire is still burning on the underside of the log, where you have to be flipped over to put it out totally. The reason why we are doing this, going to in this detail, is because we do not want eventually the fire to rekindle with heat still trapped somewhere. So large period of the time at the fire was used to basically do damping downs and to deal with deep-seated fires situations like this.
Ivan, can you tell us a bit more, because you've got actually the toughest sector ever, because I saw the side of the hill that was on sector 4 at the other end, and it's actually a 70-degree incline. Tell me what was critical at that time and what was racing through your mind when you tried to tackle the fire there.
Okay, I was given the task of being the OIC of Sector 4, and Sector 4 is actually a very critical point of the fire. The fire is actually going in a ring, and it's actually coming over the Sector 4, and it will actually has more fuel to consume. So when I was given the task of Sector 4, my main role around there was to actually be the pathfinder. Pathfinder, you actually has got to go in and find a path for the hoses and the water to come in. So given the gradient as what you have seen, I actually found a spot, and I have to race against time, because time is something which is critical. If I'm too slow, the fire will cross my line. If I'm too early, then I'll be on my fire. I mean, time is on my side. So to climb that gradient, actually, I went down on all fours. Okay, it's an all fours, and I have to bring up hoses, which is about 15 kg. And I bring hoses, nozzles, and also breaching, and on top of my gear. And I managed to go up there in time to actually face the fire. And it was right there in front of us. And initially, what I did was I set up two jets to actually do a fire break. So when I start with a fire break, I have a OC 43 actually doing a fire chase from Sector 3. So he's chasing the fire from the rear, and I'm doing a fire, I'm taking it from the front, and we cut off. And that was very critical, and we actually eventually caught the fire and surrounded the fire in that manner. You've
been in the force for 23 years. How does this fire compare to other fires you've fought?
Okay, in terms of vegetation fire, this is one of the biggest. This is the biggest vegetation fire that I have, or should I say the most challenging that I've faced. It is also the biggest one I've faced, because given the fact that the terrain, the challenges, and all that adds up, it is one of the most challenging and biggest fires that I've faced in my 23 years of firefighting.